Hello everyone, Chris Gunter here. I'm coming to you today from beautiful Brentwood, California. And I'm out and about today visiting OJ Simpson locations. That is locations related to the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Lyle Goldman back in June of 1994. And I actually wanted to start my day by going to Paul Revere Charter School, formerly Paul Revere Middle School. Now, important to point out that no actual crime took place at the school, but OJ and Nicole did attend a dance recital at this school the night of the murders. What exactly happened here at the school comes down to which side you believe. Of course, the prosecution and the defense tell two completely different stories of what happened that day. But it's simply a fact that OJ and Nicole attended a dance recital here. The prosecution alleges that OJ was not allowed to sit with the rest of the family, and there was an argument about this afterwards, and that sent OJ into a fit of rage, and he later killed two people that night. The defense tells a completely different story. They say OJ and Nicole were fine during the dance recital. They say there was no argument, there was no confrontation or anything like that. But I did want to start off by visiting Paul Revere Charter School, since OJ and Nicole did attend the dance recital that night. And if you believe the prosecution's version of events, then the confrontation or argument between OJ and Nicole that night here at this school might have been the event that got the ball rolling that night and led to two murders. So there you have it. Hello everyone, I'm now here at the McDonald's on Santa Monica Boulevard, and this particular McDonald's was very important for the defense in the OJ Simpson murder trial because it established OJ's alibi. The defense claimed that OJ Simpson and his house guest, Kato Kalin, made a drive-through run at this McDonald's right here, and that because of that, OJ could not have committed the murders in the time frame that the prosecution alleged. So I wanted to visit this because even though the crime itself didn't take place here, this is very important in the court case. So there you have it. Chris here, and I'm still here in Brentwood, California, and I've made my way to this business called the Shade Store, which is a business that sells blinds and curtains and things like that. But back in 1994, this was a restaurant named the Mezzaluna, and Ron Goldman worked here as a waiter at this Mezzaluna restaurant. And as we know, Ron Goldman was friends with Nicole Brown Simpson, and he was one of the victims that was killed that night in June of 1994. And much of what happened that night is in dispute, depending on, which side is telling the story, the prosecution or the defense. But the Mezzaluna connection is really not in dispute. It's a fact. Ron Goldman worked here. He was friends with Nicole. The night of the murder, Nicole and her mother ate here at the Mezzaluna restaurant, and sometime after they left, it was discovered that Nicole's mother left her reading glasses here at the restaurant. And with Ron being friends with Nicole, he volunteered to take Nicole's mother's reading glasses to Nicole's condo. And that's how Ron got involved with the case. And it's sad, it's sad when anyone gets murdered, but Ron may have just been in the wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately. So, but this is the old location of the Mezzaluna restaurant, and I'm out and about wanting to visit all the major locations connected to the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Lyle Goldman. So, of course, I wanted to visit the old location of the old Mezzaluna, because it definitely is very connected to the murders. So there you have it. Hello everyone. So I've made it to the location where Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman were murdered back in June of 1994. And there's a few things I wanted to point out. First of all, I actually walked here from the Mezzaluna, and it was about 2/10 of a mile away. It's less than a 10-minute walk, walking at a normal pace, so very close where Ron Goldman worked. And the second thing I wanted to point out is that the new owner of this property has taken considerable efforts to disguise it or hide it, whatever you want to call it, which is understandable for privacy. But first of all, they actually changed the address from 875 South Bundy to 879 South Bundy. But even more notable is that they actually moved the entrance. Now, the famous photo that we've all seen of the crime scene, you take note of that pine tree right there that was there in 1994. The old entryway was directly to the right of it. The new entryway is directly to the left of it. And I'll get over for a closer look so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But the old entryway is right there. The new entryway that they moved is directly to the left. And I'll also point out that the drain is in the exact same spots, and the light pole is in the exact same spots. But they moved the entryway. So I'm gonna walk across the street and get a closer look to that. The other thing I wanted to point out is just how busy this street is. It's kind of inconceivable that two people were murdered here and that no one saw or heard anything aside from a dog barking and the one witness saying that they heard a hey, hey, hey. But I mean, just look how busy the street is. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to point out is everything is overgrown right here. When you compare that to the other condos on this street, see how clean they are? This one, everything is overgrown. Again, that's the owner making an effort for privacy, which again is understandable. So I wanted to approach Nicole's old condo from this side of the street so you could see what I was talking about as far as the entryway being moved. You notice a pattern with all the other condos here. Clean entryway, 873, 869, 873, 871. Clean entryway right here. And then here, instead of a clean entryway, we have this. This is where Nicole and Ron were murdered, right here. Right in that alley, right up there. And the blood drained all the way down here to the streets. And that's when the witness saw the blood on the sidewalk and called 911. So this is where Nicole and Ron were murdered, but they moved the entryway to the left of this pine tree right here for privacy reasons, which again is understandable. So now I'm gonna walk around the back of the condo and we'll look at the entryway back there. So I wanted to show what the backside of Nicole's condo looked like. I'm walking here on Dorothy Street, which is adjacent to Bundy Drive. According to the prosecution, OJ Simpson pulled into this alleyway right here and parked here on the left. The prosecution alleges that OJ parked his white Bronco right here on the left and went through that back gate right there and killed Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Lyle Goldman. That was Nicole's garage right there, and that was her back gates. Something notable, the blood found on the back gate wasn't found for, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks after the murders. That was one of the items that the defense alleges was planted by the police. So, but you know, again, the prosecution and the defense tell two completely different stories about what happened that night. But I did want to show what the backside of Nicole's condo looked like. The prosecution alleges OJ parked right here and went through that back gates and murdered Nicole and Ron. So I'm gonna walk back out to the front side, and something I mentioned earlier that's notable is that it's really just surprising how busy this area is. Not sure what I was expecting back in the day whenever I first saw this case. Of course, I was 11 years old whenever the murders took place, so, but nonetheless, I didn't expect it to be this busy. I wanted to get one more look of the front of Nicole's condo, just so you can kind of see how this pieces together. That was the backside where the prosecution alleges that OJ entered to kill Nicole and Ron. And you see how busy this road is? And I'll point out that, like, you might say, well, it wasn't this busy 30 years ago, but I mean, these homes don't exactly look new, you know. So, and then this is the new entrance that they created. And this is the old entrance. So right there is where Nicole and Ron were murdered. So I'm heading to OJ's old Rockingham estate. Hey y'all, so I'm here at the old Rockingham estate for OJ Simpson. Now, I want to point out that you can't hardly see anything. And when I say hardly anything, I mean basically nothing. And that's by design, because the new owner, after they purchased it, they put up this huge fence with vegetation for privacy, and also to keep people like myself out. But for those who aren't in the know, so OJ was acquitted in 1995. However, he lost a civil suit to the victims' families in 1997. And shortly after that, his home was foreclosed on. The new owner leveled the old house and the guest houses that were here, and built a new house, put up this huge gate, vegetation and everything. But I did want to point a few things out. So this is the Rockingham entrance. This is about the only thing that looks the same, except for it was an iron fence back then. Remember, it was a green iron fence, but this entrance looks the same other than the different fence. But the Ashford gate right around the corner looks completely different. I'll point that out here in just a second. But this is the Rockingham. This is Rockingham right here. This is the Rockingham entrance. Back in 1994, there was a huge, enormous circle driveway that wrapped all the way around the property, across two streets, Rockingham and Ashford. Well, they moved the Ashford gate to right here. See how close these two are? So it's not a huge circle driveway anymore. It's a small one, but that's the Rockingham entrance. And this is the new circle driveway entrance, but the old entrance is way over here. So we have the Rockingham entrance. Here's Ashford. The Ashford gate, the old one at least, is all the way over here. So I wanted to point that out, just so everyone can see the geography of this, so you can sort of make sense of where the Bronco was parked and where the limo was parked, and where the limo driver, who was named Al Parks, I believe, said he saw a dark, shadowy figure walking across the front of the lawn to the entrance to the house. So this is the entrance where the old Ashford gate was. So I pointed out where the Rockingham gate is, where it still is to this day. This is the entrance to the old Ashford gate. So, and OJ's property stretched all the way down here, because remember, he had a putting green, a pool, a tennis court. He had two guest houses. One was where Cato Kalin lived, and the other was where his daughter Arnell lived. So for those who aren't in the know, OJ had two young children with Nicole, Justin and Sydney. He also had two adult children with his first wife, a son named Jason and a daughter named Arnell. Arnell lived on the property, and I'll point out where she did, where she stayed, and Cato stayed on the property as well. I'll point that out here as I walk around. So this is the Ashford gate, the old Ashford gate entrance. Now it's just a small little gate there. So as I'm walking around to get to the Rockingham entrance, you can imagine how massive this circle driveway must have been back in 1994. As I'm walking around here. But you have to keep in mind, this was a huge mansion with 2 guest houses, a pool, a tennis court, a putting green. So Ashford Gate used to be down there. The Rockingham Gate is right here. And so I'll point this out. Right down this way, this was the end of OJ's property right here. Straight back that way is where the 2 guest houses were, and you can actually see the top of the new house there. But straight back this direction is where the 2 guest houses were. One was where Cato stayed in, and the other was where Arnell stayed in. And right next to Cato's guest house is where they claim they found the bloody glove. OJ Simpson's glove. They found 1 glove at the crime scene at Nicole's condo there in Bundy, and they found 1 glove here. So right next to Cato's guest house. So, but I did just want to kind of see the geography of this again, because this is a really big property. Although you can't see much about it now because of the way it's hidden with the vegetation. It was definitely a big property when you consider how big the circle driveway was. So I'm going to do one final video to tie all this up, but I did want to show once again OJ Simpson's old Rockingham estate. So that gate there looks exactly the same, or the gate itself looks different. It was an iron gate back then, but the entrance looks the same. And then again, this is the new entrance right here. The Ashford gate was way over here, way around the corner. I gotta say, that's pretty cool setup. If you have the money to own a property like this with 2 entrances, that'd be pretty cool to have a circle driveway that encompasses 2 streets. If I had the money to do so, I certainly would. But and then this was the Ashford gate right here. So there's my rental car right down there. But yeah. So, and then the property stretched all the way down here to where you see that Honda. So that was the end of his property down there. But I wanted to give everybody a visual of that, and I'm going to make one final video to tie all this up, and then I'll give my thoughts on that as well. So one final thing I did want to point out is this is actually where the Bronco chase ended. The Bronco chase that we all saw on television during Game 5 of the Rockets-Knicks series back in 1994. The Bronco chase actually ended right here in the Rockingham entrance. OJ pulled in right here, and his son Jason Simpson ran out and started yelling at him, and they actually ended up talking OJ out of the car. He went inside, and he was placed under arrest, and of course indicted for double homicide. But this is where the Bronco chase ended, right here inside that gate. And again, you can't really see a whole lot because of by design, the trees and the vegetation and everything, but right back in that direction is where the Bronco chase ended. So